What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Bets and Ball Games with Edwards and Greeson. We're recording on Thursday, a little bit before 1 Eastern. And let's start off before we go to Jay Greeson by telling you about Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting, from the earliest odds to in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, what's happening, Jay? How we doing?
Doing tremendous. Tip of the visor to you, even though I'm not wearing my visor. I've got a head so big that I can't wear ball caps anymore. They look like I might as well. It's like a mix between like a build yarmulke. I'm like a Jewish fellow looking for shade. But tip of the visor to you for crushing the John Bones Jones pick. And
I didn't have that.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I said he was going to win, but he was like a minus 700 favorite.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I said he was going to win.
Well, when somebody who knows as little about grown men fighting in diapers as I do, that you give me credit for, I give you credit for that.
Sure. All right. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly from week 12. And I'll start with the good. Well, South Carolina, and I did not have a great weekend of picks this past weekend, but I did have South Carolina in the first half. They got there for me. But most importantly, they remained hot. They got their fourth consecutive win. And boy, it required quite a bit of drama, as Luther Burden had one of the nastiest catches you'll ever see, a left-handed, one-handed snag with 102 left on a 37-yard touchdown pass from Brady Cook to stake Mizzou to a 30-27 lead. But South Carolina answered. Lenoris Sellers and Rocket Sanders were fantastic at crunch time. And Rocket Sanders, as we've said before, he is back to 2022 form when he was with Arkansas. And he had a fabulous touchdown catch, broke a couple of tackles to get in the end zone with 15 seconds left. And South Carolina prevails. Lenoris Sellers, 353 passing yards, 5 touchdowns compared to 1 pick. And he also had 45 rushing yards. And we'll save this conversation for another day. But Lenoris might be a pretty legit Heisman contender in preseason 2025. So the good is everything that's going on with the Gamecocks right now. They are absolutely rolling.
Before I get to my good, quick side question, because you know I love the tangents when you say something thought-provoking. If you're South Carolina and Shane Beamer right now, don't you have to worry about one of the power players coming in here and saying, hey, Lenoris, hit the portal?
I think
we'll double whatever they're offering you.
I think South Carolina's got the money to match that, don't they?
Compared to what if Michigan's tired of looking up? What if, South Carolina is a major program. I'm not saying they're short on funds, but there is no salary cap in college football. So if USC looks up and says, we've got to have better, and Lincoln Riley says, okay, better is Lenoris Sellers, and they say, okay, here's $9 million, go get him. I don't know. It's a strange era, because you're 100% right. That kid's a freshman or a redshirt freshman, got a year at least, and if not 2. And you don't think Oklahoma will break the bank to fix some of their offensive craptasticness?
Well, I just looked up. I was just seeing if he was from the Palmetto State, and indeed he is. He's from Florence, South Carolina, so maybe there'll be some loyalty there. But no, you make a good point. And that goes for every stud.
Absolutely, it does.
Group 5, Power 5, where that goes for every stud.
Because even if you're Jalen Milroe, if somebody's going to offer you twice what Alabama's willing to offer,
sure.
It's a crazy thing. My good is, and we were harsh, and rightly so harsh on him this time a week ago. After a 3 for 11 start, Carson Beck looked like the Carson Beck we expected Carson Beck to look like. And I mean, that dude was standing tall in the pocket against Tennessee defense that is legit. You can say whatever you want to about the ups and downs and how tough Tennessee's schedule has been, but the Tennessee defense and the Tennessee pass rush has been great all year. And without two of his top three running backs, with a couple of big drops, especially on the first deep ball that he threw on the first play of the game, Carson Beck withstood all of it. And they were in a 10-0 hole to Tennessee in a game that felt like an elimination game for Georgia, and probably was. And then they stormed back. That was, I think, what a lot of us thought Carson Beck was going to be for all fall. But on Saturday night in Athens, he was.
Yeah, he was throwing some dimes. He looked good, and maybe he got back some of those tens of millions he's been losing the last couple of months.
Well, and that's a great conversation about there is no quarterback QB1 in this 2025 draft class you feel good about. I mean, is Shedeur Sanders going to be him? I don't know.
I feel pretty good about Shedeur, but I will say to that point, Carson can like ball out the rest of the year, and he can maybe kind of erase what we've watched over the last couple months. But he can
ball out the rest of the year and then run a 4.940 in Indy and at the Underwear Olympics. And I mean, you don't have any idea. I mean,
the Underwear Olympics, I love it. So you thought provoked me with your good, and it was that Georgia was out without two of its top three running backs, and so that compels me to ask. So Benedict Arnold, a.k.a. Trevor Etienne, is he still out from all those gator licks he took on that Saturday?
Man,
that's almost a month ago in Jacksonville. He got too many gator licks. Did I hear he had a broken rib or a cracked rib or from those gator licks he took? Oh, Benedict, Trevor, wish you well. Get well soon, pal. All right, my bad is LSU. Oh my gosh, the Swamp is a tough place to play, no doubt about that. But I mean, how do they only score 16 points and lose by double digits when they out first downed us 25-13, when they outrushed us 130-113, when they outpassed us 262-226? They only had 3 penalties for 25 yards. We had 7 for 55 yards. Brian Kelly, you better get this thing fixed fast, or if you get Diego Pavia in Red Stick on Saturday, Mr. Woodward, the AD at LSU, he don't play this shit. And you better tighten your program up, Mr. Kelly. And Florida ends a 5-year, a long 5-year losing streak of nothing but heartbreakers, no blowouts. Although we lost by 17 last year. That was the one possession game in the fourth quarter. Anywho, and they out time of possessed, if you will, 41-43 to 18-17 for Florida. So I don't know how the hell they lost that game by double digits, but they did, and that's my bad.
Okay. All right, quick tangent for my bad. One, amazing visor tip to the Florida fans, because the Swamp was rocking, even though it's been a disastrous year by almost every measure. A lot of it, some of it's injuries, some of it is frustration, some of it's Billy Bob. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on right now that you don't know what the path is, but that place was hopping. 2, are the cameramen of SEC TV games, are they told to pick the hottest women, because they do not show an ugly woman in the stands? I mean, it's nothing but smoke show after smoke show.
They do an admirable job, and I will give a hat tip as well to the ladies they locate in the stands.
They pick, and you're going, Woo! I mean, I think, not to borrow the Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused about the thing I love about high school girls is they all stay the same age as I get older. But women in college, when I went to college, didn't look like that. I mean, holy gravy. But I will say this. My bad is I feel awful for how much talent Cam Coleman has and has wasted this year with mediocre quarterback play at Auburn University. Cam Coleman was on full display, and yes, I know it's La Monroe, which is only the second most, probably the third most famous Monroe. There's James Monroe, one of our early presidents and a great American patriot, and Monroe played on Too Close for Comfort, was maybe one of the first gay characters on a TV sitcom. So, but Cam Coleman, man,
that catch
what
was
a
nasty.
specimen.
Yeah.
What a dude. I hope Auburn's ready to pony up. We talk about Lenora Sellers, and I'm going to be fair about my alma mater. How many people are going to start calling Cam Coleman and saying, hey, are you happy with your NIL deal?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hear you. That was a ridiculous catch that he had last week. Okay, my ugly is going to be this national narrative that some pundits are trying to create. I'll go first with Timmy Brando. He texted last week after the Gator game. Any Gator football fans want to discuss Coach Billy Napier now? Pretty sure Scott Strickland knew what he was doing! Exclamation point. Well, you know what I did, Jay? I raised my hand. I want to discuss it. Yeah, Timmy, I'll discuss it. Okay.
See if Timmy's got time next Thursday. We'll welcome Timmy into the Southeastern 16 portal.
Well, I discussed it with him right then and there with a retweet and a comment. Billy is now 11-19 against Power 5 opponents, 2-10 in rivalry games, and 12 of the 19 L's against Power 5 opponents by double digits. Okay, Herbie, no idea if Gator football is going to end up winning this game today, but damn, it is impressive to watch this team play with energy. Have faced a lot of adversity and sitting at 4-5, easy to see teams lose their focus and drive. Not all exclamation points, the Gators. Kudos to Billy Napier and his staff. Okay, timeout. Since when is the standard to play with energy, play hard, overcome adversity? You're in the swamp at home, a sellout crowd. You damn right you better be playing hard. Are you kidding me? The standard is rings, titles, championships, banners, confetti. That's the standard. Not playing hard, not beating a fading LSU team whose coach might get pink slipped on Sunday morning. No. Winning at the swamp, yeah. That's my God-given birthright. Thank you. All right.
Well, you're just now 50, so it's your teenage beyond birthright.
Early
y'all
80s.
In the 70s.
I went to my first game at the swamp when I was 7 in 1981. So
okay. All right. Well, you got to see Emmett grow up. And then y'all's football Jesus came. And
well, remember now we won the SEC in 84 and 85. It just didn't count because we were on probation.
You're talking to an Auburn graduate, man.
Yeah. Who cares about probation?
So you really want to start peddling those things?
Viral fist bump.
I mean, dear Lord, Auburn could put up a banner that said official SEC champions 7 times, unofficial SEC championships 47 times. So, I mean,
yes, all that.
I mean, it's like Tommy Tuberville saying in the last couple of days that like Ohio State has the best team money can buy, or Indiana has the best team money can buy. Hey, Tommy, shut up, okay? I mean, I'm pretty certain Carnell and Ronnie Brown didn't spend those years in the same backfield for nothing. All right. I mean, but no, here's the other thing. And this is another tangent. I know we got games to get to and we got some important games to get to. Another tangent. I hate, and I've been doing this all my adult life. And I'm a sports columnist for the Chattanooga Times Free Press here in Tennessee, longtime sports editor at multiple stops. I hate the way modern media, I really want someone to be the modern huge picture media person who holds these people accountable. Everybody is rushing to kiss a coach's ass so that they can have better access, so that whatever else. I call this the Dick Vitalization of media coverage. I mean, for God's sakes, Dick Vitale tried to tell us how good of a guy Bobby Knight was as he was punching players and kicking his own kid on the sideline. So, no, you cannot look at the numbers. I don't care about one Saturday afternoon in the swamp against an LSU team that is puzzling. You can't look at those numbers and say Billy Napier's done a good job in Gainesville. You can't. As for my bad.
That was well said.
Everything involved with the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, including my feelings of watching it and seeing Mike Tyson at 58 making me feel that old. Dude needed a hip replacement surgery more than he needed a left hook. And here's the other thing. Amazon, that shit show of a broadcast, you better button it down because you've got an NFL game on Christmas with Beyonce playing at halftime.
Netflix.
I'm sorry. If you're going to have that kind of spinning pinwheel of death in the middle of my screen during an NFL game like that, if you can't handle the folks who are watching Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, what the hell are you going to do on the birthday of Jesus Christ as we're wanting to watch some physical carnage and some upper thigh of Beyonce Knowles? So what? What?
That was good. Nothing. Carry on. Did I interrupt you?
I'm good.
That was awesome. That was great. All right. Yes, you are good. Very good. All right. So on to the games.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I will say this. Last week felt old school fun with all the chaos across college football. Before we go into this week, whether it's the rankings, and the rankings are meaningless right now, completely and totally meaningless.
Sure.
Because not only are they're going to change 12 ways from Tuesday, you also have to remember it's the seeding more than the ranking that matters. Because you're going to have a conference champion jump from the teens ahead of somebody whoever finishes 12th. But a lot of my picks and the teams I like this week are motivated by the positioning of those rankings.
Yes. Speaking of those rankings, Ole Miss, number 9 at unranked Florida, ABC, noon Eastern, and our good friends at Bet Online have Ole Miss minus 11 with a total of 55.5. The Gators on the money line are plus 345 in the first half. We have Ole Miss at minus 6.5 with a total of 27.5. And let me throw out a few numbers before we get Jay's take on this game, and then I'll give mine. And keep in mind, Jay and I both have significant wagers on Ole Miss over 9.5 wins, and they are minus 27.5 in the look-ahead line of the Egg Bowl. So basically, barring just maybe the biggest upset in Egg Bowl history, I would have to confide in one of the Bo Bounces of the world to find that out. or look it up or what have you. But barring that, Ole Miss's season win total bets are on the line here. So we'll see if Jay's going to do any hedging, and I will let you know what I'm going to do in that regard. But here's some stats. Ole Miss is a road favorite under Lane Kiffin, 10-4-1 against the spread. That's his entire tenure. Napier as a home dog at Florida, 5-4 ATS. Napier as a double-digit dog, whether home, away, whatever, 6-3 against the spread. But one of the non-covers was at Texas a couple weeks ago with the third-string quarterback. So, he's been pretty good as a double-digit dog, although no outright wins. And lastly, I was at the Swamp in 2015. The last time Ole Miss came in there, they were ranked third. They were undefeated. They had the Kimdichie brothers. They had Chad Swag Kelly, who I actually read had a gnarly injury in the CFL playoffs a few weeks back. But anyway, Florida absolutely mauled Ole Miss that night. The final was 38-10. It was not that close. And the coach was the Swamp Donkey, Jim McElwain, who just announced his retirement. Is it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, he's. I think he's got like a shark on the side that he wants to spend a little more time with. Maybe start a family, a couple of minnows, a couple of guppies. You never can really tell.
Right. So, what do you think about? Are you going to hedge?
No, hell no, I'm not hedging. I love Ole Miss in this spot.
Okay.
I love Ole Miss in this spot. And I think Kiffin is going to be able to preach to those kids in the locker room about you've got everything to play for. I mean, whether they go to Atlanta or not, Ole Miss is the 1-2 loss or fewer SEC teams that if they lose again, their schedule their resume is so weak, they're out. Yes. Ole Miss is truly an elimination game all the way through to this point, unless you're talking about maybe Texas and Atlanta. So I love their offense. I love how rested they are. I love their defensive pass rush against a freshman quarterback. I love Florida coming in off a high. I love everything about this spot. This is perfect for Lane Kiffin,
including the noon Eastern kick. You like that part too?
I love the noon Eastern kick, so everybody's not completely lathered. It's not a night game with the place hopping. I love how he's going to put his foot on the clutch and change gears and go to the sixth gear in the second half. I mean, even if it's a one-score game, he's not going to run the clock out. That's not who he is, and that's not what they need. I love everything about Ole Miss in this spot, even laying double digits in the Swamp, which is somewhere Steve Spurrier's breaking out in a rash.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind. I'll break out a stat for you since you brought that up. In his 12-year iconic tenure, Steve Spurrier lost. Guess how many home games he lost in 12 years?
Well, I was at one of them.
Right, 1994, October 15th. Patrick Nix to Frank Sanders. Appreciate you reminding me. Yeah, you were one of them. Did you get a fight?
I almost got beat up by an old lady that day.
I was about to say, did you get a fight that day?
Oh, my God. I almost got into like a dozen fights. Hey, I got beat up at the Whataburger in Tallahassee a couple of years prior to that. Oh. This was the only time I truly feared for whether I was going to make it out of town alive.
Okay. You brought up a good point with Ole Miss's defensive pass rush. It's vastly superior to LSU's, and Lagway was able to Lagway, God, he's got some arm talent. He was able to do his thing on a bad hammy. And look, we won't know the answer to this question until we get into the game early Saturday afternoon. But how much has his hamstring improved is a huge factor in this game because he's got to be mobile in this game. And if he doesn't have that mobility, it's going to be bad. And we don't know the answer to that. I'm just pointing it out. However, I am going to hedge a little bit. Now, I'm not like.
So are you hedging money line then? You hedging Gators on the money line?
Very small plays on Gators money line and Gators plus the points. But let me assure everyone at home, I still have a lot more money on Ole Miss to win.
Oh, we both do. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
I told you, and I think I told our viewers from the very beginning, the two biggest bets I made this year, one is already hit, and that was Georgia over Clemson. I mean, I was to the point that I think what I told you in the green room was if Clemson covers against Georgia, it's going to greatly affect how much I gamble for the rest of the college football season.
Right.
That one hit, thankfully. The second biggest bet I've made all year long was Ole Miss over the 9.5. And you're right. The Egg Bowl looks like, I mean, anything can happen in a rivalry game like that. But this one is the check mark to, I mean, I can completely understand because you told me that was your biggest bet was Ole Miss over. And I completely understand the hedge, especially the hedge on the money line. And then I can understand even a week from now, the Egg Bowl hedge on the money line.
You probably won't get one. Well, you're legal in Tennessee. Like my accounts here probably won't give me a money line on a 27.5 point favorite, but maybe you do because you've got options.
Yeah, we got a ton of options.
Yeah,
but,
there you go.
But no, I love Ole Miss in this spot. I love Ole Miss.
Right. And again, it's a hedge for Florida. Now, I haven't put Florida like in my pick pack for Vegas Insider. I have not done that. I do lean Florida plus the points, but I don't even know that I'll put it in my pick pack. So basically, listeners, I'm not telling you to bet on Florida. I'm just telling you, well, as we all explained, it's a hedge. All right, moving on. Kentucky at Texas, ABC, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And our friends at Bet Online have the Longhorns installed as
20 or 21.
20.5 point favorites, total of 46.5. The Wildcats on the money line are plus 870. And the first half line has Texas as a 10.5 point favorite with a total of 24. Before I throw it, well, actually, you go ahead. Your opinion on this one.
I think if you're going to play a side, I think the only side to really play is probably Texas in the first half. My preferred pick on this, and I included this in my column this morning that has my Fab 4 picks. It's just not SEC related, but this is one of my 5 picks for this college football weekend. I don't see any way Kentucky scores a whole lot of points here. The 46, it's some spots if you want to go under, like I'm going under, there are some spots that's got 47 or 47.5. And I really think this is going to be like 21-3. I think Texas's defense is unbelievably athletic. They've got future pros who are just young, but still way more athletic. Every time Kentucky gets in a game that is a mismatch in talent, think back, they slow it down. Stoops is a defensive guy. They play physical. And, hey, defensively, I think they're going to have some success against a Texas team that has had extended droughts through the season, in games through the season. But I just think this is going to be – it's quite telling when you see Vegas put a 3-touchdown spread on a game that they don't expect 7 touchdowns to be scored.
All right. I like Kentucky a lot here. Let's buy that half point to 21. They've been a double-digit underdog 3 times this year. They're 3-0 against the spread with 1 outright win. They lose by 1. Oh, and I'm sorry. And those three double-digit spread covers, they covered the spread by 47 combined points. They lost by 1 to Georgia as a 22-point dog. They won outright, at Ole Miss as a 15.5 point dog, but that line was 17 early in the week. And then against Tennessee, they had the lead in the second half, even though they were playing without 3 of their 4 best players on defense. They still had the lead in the second half and easily covered against Tennessee as a 17.5 point dog, I think, as a 28-18 loss. And speaking of those 3 of their 4 best defensive players that were out at Tennessee when they still had a pretty good defensive performance, well, all 3 are back. In fact, Maxwell Hairston, who had 5 interceptions, 67 tackles, 6 passes broken up last year, and was an second-team All-SEC pick at cornerback. He had missed 5 games with a shoulder injury. He came back against Murray State last week. And then the injury report last night, we see their longtime starting DN, J.J. Weaver. He is probable, and their leading tackler, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, who's been out the last 2 games. Weaver had been out the last 2 games. Johnson's not even on the injury report, so he's back. So they've gotten healthy. Since that loss to Tennessee, which was a pretty good performance by them, they had an open date, and then they had Murray State. And then on the Texas side of things, they're mired in a 1-3 ATS slump. The only cover against Florida with a third-string quarterback and off a heartbreaker against Georgia. And we could argue and debate who Texas's biggest rival is out of Oklahoma and A&M, but considering that they haven't played A&M since 2011 and that it'll be with SEC and CFP implications, assuming A&M, well, we're not going to assume A&M wins on the Plains, but potential, as we look at it right now, it potentially has CFP and SEC ramifications. So that makes this a vintage look-ahead situation for Texas. And look, if they're up 17 or 18 mid-fourth quarter, I doubt they want anybody getting hurt with potential A&M game the next week, or for sure the A&M game the next week, and a potential SEC game the week after that. So I could see Sark, just try. Actually, he could have got the spread cover at Arkansas last week and kind of chilled out and eventually went to victory formation. And so I like Kentucky a lot. I'm not saying it's my favorite pick of the week, but it's one of them. All right, let's go to Missouri at Mississippi State, SEC Network, 4:15 p.m. Eastern. And we have Bet Online listing Mizzou as a 7.5 point favorite with a total of 57. And the Bulldogs are plus 240 on the money line. What are you thinking here, Jay?
I'm thinking I don't see how you can play a side other than Missouri. But I'm also thinking there are a lot of other opportunities out there that I would rather put my money on than 2 teams that I don't know. Both I'm not going to say disappointed, because I don't know how big the expectations we had for the Bulldogs out of Starkville, but nobody's happy in this game. So this is one of those that can roll downhill off a big mountain either direction. I don't like this. I don't like a whole lot about this game on either direction, to be quite honest.
I like Missouri. I thought they played very well last week, fought back, put themselves in position to win the game, and defense just could not get a stop when they had to have one. But most importantly, Brady Cook is back. He's healthy. He's probable on the injury report, and he played last week. And
this is according to team doctor Barry Bonds, who is in charge of the
you haven't let this go yet.
Medical protocol of the Greater Missouri Tigers operation. He's asking his nurse practitioner, Mark McGuire, if he's got any suggestions on making certain Brady is is able to stand upright.
So it was October 19th. So maybe you haven't had enough time what is that, like 32 days ago, that Brady made his miraculous recovery on the plains. Yes, indeed. But more than anything here, and by the way, we're wanting to buy that half point to 7, but more than anything, we're just fading Mississippi State. Okay, they've been a single-digit underdog like they are here 3 times this year, 0-3 against the spread. They have played 7 SEC games, and they have lost all of them by double-digit margins. They've lost by 19, 33, 10, 10 again, 22, and 17. And they also lost at home to Toledo by a 41-17 count. So, yes, I will be taking Missouri -7, buying the hook. And let's take a timeout. All right. Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Or are you just tired of listening to the man? Want to bet on yourself? We do a lot of betting here. You ready to bet on yourself? If so, let me tell you about our guy, Andy Ludecke, and his business, MyPerfectFranchise.net. So a while back, Andy had it with corporate America. He was married, had a kid, another one on the way. He wanted to get his own business, work for himself, and he made it happen. He's got multiple businesses now, and he wants to help you do the same thing. Here's how it works. You set up an intro call, 1-hour consultation, and here's the best part, 100% free. You're going to tell Andy about your passions, your skills, your goals, time and money you have to invest in this endeavor, and Andy's going to figure out what sort of business fits your DNA. He's going to register you with potential franchise and find the best franchise that suits the vision and corporate culture you want. And before you know it, you'll be on your way. Andy will have you making greenbacks galore. So what are you waiting for? Reach out to my man, Andy Ludecke, MyPerfectFranchise.net. Give him a call, 404-973-9901, MyPerfectFranchise.net. Okay, let's go to our next game. Alabama at Oklahoma, ABC, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Oklahoma's had 2 weeks to prepare. BetOnline has Alabama -13.5, total of 46.5. The Sooners on the money line are +460, and first half line for Bama is -7 at a -115 price. Total is 24. What are you thinking about here, Jay?
I love everything about this spot for Alabama. I think they know these kids came there, almost all of them under Saban, in an effort to compete for national championships. And they know that's now within their grasp is that if they handle their business this week and next in the regular season. Oklahoma, it's been a disaster. It has been maybe because it came under in the shadows of the Billy Napier vote of confidence from Scott Strickland, but Brent Venables got a vote of confidence too. And they don't have a quarterback. Alabama gets after the pass rush. To be fair to Venables, offensively, they have been battered across the line of scrimmage and in the receiving room. So, but no, I think this game gets out of hand in a hurry. I think Alabama trucks Oklahoma.
I agree, and I'm all for Alabama -13.5 or that. Yeah, actually, I don't see any 14s out there. But I think I like it best -7 in the first half. And that's my main play. But I also like Bama -13.5. And look, Jalen Milroe, September Jalen is who looked like the Heisman favorite. He got a injury, or he had multiple injuries, especially a painful rib injury. He wasn't the same in October. He came back from that open date against LSU, 185 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Had nice numbers and, pretty fairly limited amount of playing time last week against Mercer. I think November Jalen is back to September Jalen. It's a legit team that can win it all, and I think they handle their business.
I mean, you talked about September Jalen. Think about the 2 huge road games that they have played. And
Or LSU, Wisconsin, or
Yeah, and if he's healthy, in those moments of consternation, struggle, place going nuts, 3rd and 6, and he can tuck and run and be that effective, that's hard to handle defensively. I mean, don't get me wrong, Oklahoma's defense is good.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma's offense is not. And if Milroe puts up 27, they cover the 13. And I agree with you. I would probably play Alabama both sides, first half and game.
Yep. All right, let's go to the Plains where A&M will play at Auburn on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern. And the look-ahead line last week, what was it, 4.5 or 5? And then, that has not been the case this week, opening at 2.5, pretty much sitting at 2.5 all week. BetOnline's got the Aggies minus 2.5 with a total of 46.5. And Auburn on the money line is plus 120. Have you picked against Auburn all year?
Well, I think I have.
Okay.
I know I am Saturday. I mean, if I can get A&M less than 3, but I'll tell you this, I have picked against Auburn. I have not won an Auburn game all year.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I actually thought we talked last week that I thought Auburn shouldn't be giving up 28 points to anybody. And then they did that to La Monroe. So,
yeah. All right. So you like A&M?
I do like A&M. I don't know how. I don't really know how you can. They're the better football team with more to play for.
Right. It is Jordan-Hare, though. I lean A&M. I lean A&M. I don't know that I'm going to play it, though. What's Auburn's record? Are y'all bowl eligible? I mean, are y'all potentially?
Got to win out to get bowl eligible. 4 and 6.
Yeah, same situation as Kentucky, by the way. And so those that think Kentucky's just going to lay down in Austin, no, they can be fighting for bowl eligibility. So I lean A&M, but I'm not advising anyone to bet it.
A lot of games that feel more invest worthy than this one, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn can win this football game, plain and simple. They can win any football game at Jordan-Hare, especially in November. All right, moving on. Vandy at LSU, 7:45 p.m. And our friends at BetOnline have LSU at 7.5, total of 53.5. The Fighting Diego Pavias are plus 250 on the money line. Okay, so a few things here. Now Vandy's had 2 weeks to prepare, and good grief, did they need a open date bad. Clark Lee said Pavia did not practice last week. I mean, we've all known he's been banged up for pretty much since like week 3. I've ridden Vandy hard and successfully, or no, I faded them with Vatek to start the year, so I was 0-1. Did I have them against Missouri? I think I might have. I definitely, yeah, 1-1. I had them against Bama, 2-1. I had them on the money line and spread against Kentucky, 3-1. Passed on Ball State. I had them against Texas to go to 4-1 in their games. I had them against Auburn and the money line, so 5-1. So, and then I went back to them in South Carolina, lost. So, but we're really, I'm going to say I'm 5-1 because the Vatek game, we had not seen them yet. But I think I've ridden that horse. Just I'm not going on LSU. I just don't. I think they're banged up all over the place, and I'm just not sure where they're at. But I'm not sure where LSU is at either. I'm not sure if LSU likes their coach.
Well, and I think there could be a whole lot of kids making business decisions in Red Stick this week.
Yes. So I just don't
everything that you were playing for, shooting for, is now crumbled. So, I mean, I think the only play here is Vandy, especially if you can get it north of a touchdown. But the other part of that is Saturday night in Red Stick, those things can go off the rails. Diego Pavia or no?
Yeah, I also I mean, what does Vandy have left in the gas tank? Now they did have a week off. But there's also the possibility LSU jumps on them early, and if you do like Vandy, you can get a better line. And like the look ahead line, I believe, if I'm remembering right, wasn't it 10.5 or 11 last week? Like it'd be a different story. If I could get double digits, I could be interested in Vandy. But we might be able to get double digits 3 or 4 minutes into the game if Nussmeier takes him down on a touchdown drive. So pregame, nothing. If I take Vandy live catching double digits, I'll tweet it out. That's probably what I'm going to be looking to do.
Nussmeier's a puzzling dude, isn't he? I mean, sometimes he looks great. The second half against South Carolina, he was unbelievable.
Yes.
And then sometimes there are just extended stretches, especially Saturday in the Swamp, where he just looks like a freshman. And The Athletic ranked their top 50 prospects, not mock draft type thing, but top 50 prospects. And Nussmeier was a top 3 quarterback prospect. And I mean, I know you and I are going to be irate when the Falcons draft him in the second round because they feel like they need a third round. They need a scout team quarterback, so they're going to spend some draft capital on making certain the quarterback room's got depth.
While the Falcons are leading the division, wouldn't it be nice to have a pass rusher? I mean, I know we got Judon, but he's
think
not.
So? Maybe. Hey, you know what? Brock Bowers looks pretty good. I mean, and he was on the board.
Sure does.
I mean, if you're going to go nothing but skill position people, at least let's get one who's going to play.
Right.
I mean, no. Although,
time out. Have you noticed how the targets for Pitts have gone way down, and we've lost back-to-back games?
Of course.
4 targets combined, back-to-back losses. Do we have something in common here? All right, your turn. Are we done here?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
good.
So I know we've got the fan bases, so we got to just like touch on them, say who they're playing. All right, Arkansas at home to La Tech. The Razorbacks are minus 22 at Bet Online, 48.5. I mean,
I'd lay that number.
Sonny Cumbie's not a very good coach, but I've watched La Tech in these midweek games a little bit, and I do remember Arkansas not even threatening to cover against Trent Dilfer's UAB team. I actually would slightly lean to La Tech, but I won't be involved.
No, I won't either. But I'm just saying, there are a lot of games out there I like that.
Right.
There are some of these fringe, and I know we need to talk about all the teams in the SEC who are playing, but there are some of these that if you just feel the need here, I would lean Arkansas.
Okay.
I think Bobby Petrino is about to put together an end of the year highlight film for when he starts floating resumes.
Right. So South Carolina is hosting Wofford. There might be a line at FanDuel, but FanDuel's not on my live odds screen, so I'm not seeing that number. So Tennessee host, UTEP, and that line is 41.5 with a total of 52.5. And we also have Georgia hosting UMass, and BetOnline has that at 42 and 55.5. And unless Jay has an opinion on any of those games, we're going to play the guessing game with him on some rivalry weekend spreads before we get to our non-SEC picks for the weekend.
I've got one that I kind of like. I think Tennessee is going to do everything in their power to score 60. So I would find what they're in that bubble fringe that just beating UTEP 35-3, not good enough. They need to, well, especially if you can find it in the first half of Tennessee over. I think they're going to get Nico a feel-good game. I can see a lot of ways Tennessee's got 42 at halftime.
UTEP has only played one Power 4 team. They lost 40-7 at Nebraska. in week 1. Okay, guessing game. All right, Tennessee at Vandy.
Tennessee at Vandy, 12.
Okay, FanDuel had it at 12.5, but DraftKings has it at 10.5. So maybe it meets right there in the middle, but we'll see how Vandy fares in Red Stick. Okay, South Carolina at Clemson.
Clemson, 7.5.
So FanDuel, as of this morning, I'm not looking at it right now, had Clemson at 2.5. DraftKings opened Clemson 4.5, but it has now moved down to 4. Florida at Zook Field in Tallahassee. You know why we call it Zook Field?
Well, I imagine because he's never lost there.
No, that's not it. The night they dedicated the field to Bobby Bowden, Ron Zook got carried off the field, although he had already been fired, and it was his last moment getting carried off the field. So they dedicated it to Bobby. Well, we dedicated it to Zook.
13.
Nailed it at DraftKings. It was 13.5 at FanDuel, and DraftKings had it 12.5 earlier. It is now 13. All right, let's do Oklahoma at LSU.
10.
That's what I would have thought. LSU 6.5. I would like LSU there, but let's see how things
I would
go
too.
this week.
A lot.
Yeah. All right. Louisville at Kentucky. Keep in mind, Kentucky's won 5 in a row, both straight up and against the spread in the game they dubbed the Governor's Cup.
There's a lot of Governor's Cups out there. 2.5 Kentucky.
Oh, 2.5 Kentucky, 2.5 Louisville. I would like Kentucky.
I would too.
Arkansas at Mizzou.
Mizzou -3.
Nailed it. I would like Mizzou at -3. The Iron Bowl, Tuscaloosa version.
Alabama 14.5, and I think Auburn's going to give them all they flipping want.
Alabama's 14.5 at FanDuel, 15.5 at DraftKings.
I'm crushing this right now, by the way.
You are. You really are. You're nailing this right now. Okay. Is that all? I think that's all.
Tech in Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Correct. And that is Friday night this year. Georgia Tech at Georgia, and I like this game a lot.
Well, that tells me that it's probably like 11. Or is it? No, it's way bigger than that. Like 22.
20.5, and I like Georgia Tech. 20.5. All right. Okay, our non-SEC picks. Okay, I will start. I like Arizona State -3 to BYU, and if those that tailed me on BYU last week, we should have won. They coughed up a fumble on a punt that gave Kansas the ball at the enemy 3 for a one-play, 3-yard touchdown drive. BYU also had first and goal at the 5 with 39 seconds left and threw an interception on first and goal. I'm not fading BYU here. I'm playing on Arizona State, 8-2, both straight up and against the spread. They've won 3 in a row and 5 of 6, both straight up and against the spread. And they are 5-0, both straight up in ATS at home this year. And Cam Scattaboo returned after missing a game with an injury last week, and he's good to go. 1,074 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry average. And their redshirt freshman, Levitt, Sam Levitt, right? Trying to read it in my right. Anyway, he's got a 17-4 TDI&T ratio. He also makes plays with his leg, 348 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry average. I made ASU -4.5. They're 3. I like the Sun Devils.
I'm with you on that one. My probably my favorite of the I kind of got 2 that I listed today in my morning column, the 5 at 10 at timesfreepress.com. Look, we all love the UNLV story with the QB1 holding out, and they replace him, and they're still in the hunt for the conference championship game. But here's what I do know. San Jose State has the 3rd best passing offense in the country. UNLV's passing defense is 115th in the nation. San Jose State is at home and getting more than a touchdown. Those numbers really compute to me liking San Jose State a lot.
All right. I don't think anybody will disagree that Ohio State has better talent. And here, we hadn't noticed any line movement of any of these games like we normally do on Thursday until I just looked at this one. It's 13.5 an hour and a half ago. BetOnline now has Ohio State down to 11.5. If you liked Indiana, you might have missed your window. I got Indiana at I bought it to 14 on Vegas Insider, having it 13.5. Better talent, more big game experience for the Buckeyes, but I take into account quarterback play and head coaching. And we got the better of both with Indiana. Curtis Rourke, 21-4 TDI and T ratio. He's better than Will Howard. And my man Cignetti might be better than everybody out there not named Kirby. And the spot favors Indiana. 2 weeks to prepare, not so much for Ohio State. And we're catching a big number. And everybody talks about step up in competition. Absolutely. But how about this? Other than their 32-31 loss at Oregon and their 20-13 home win over Penn State, I say it's a step up in competition for the Buckeyes too. And they also lost their starting center to a torn Achilles this week. I like Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
I'm a little bit on the other side, but it's not one of my stronger plays. And I feel like we need to tip the visor here and explain why you and I, who have been riding Army like the Lone Ranger rode Silver through the course of this season, I can't put into words the difference in talent between Army and Notre Dame. And more importantly, Notre Dame, whoever scheduled Navy off week Army, so Notre Dame defensively can really, for the most part, prepare almost a full month for this game against Army's different offensive philosophy. Kudos to that person. But I cannot lay just a smidge more than the 2 touchdowns. I think this game has a real chance to get out of hand for the Irish.
All right, to the NFL, I'm going to go Panthers plus 11. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. They've won back-to-back games. Kansas City back-to-back road spot, first double-digit chalk spot of the year. Kansas City has won by more than 11 only once this year. They beat the Saints by 13, and that was at home. Give me the Panthers plus 11, and I think you can bet the Commanders against the Cowgirls any way you want. I'm betting them 3 ways. -6 in the first half, -10 for the game, team total over 27.5. And in the UFC main event, Davis and Figueroa plus 250 against Petr Yan. And that does it for me.
And that does it for us.
That does it for us. For Jay Greeson and for myperfectfranchise.net and BetOnline and Southeastern 16. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with your bets. Talk to you next week. Over and out.